Hi everyone! Well, it's the dog days of summer. It is heating up here in Southern California. This week we're having temperatures in the triple digits. But there's nothing I love more on a hot summer day than a fresh, juicy watermelon, especially when it comes from my own backyard. Well, a lot of you have been following along as we've been growing watermelon and cantaloupe in containers, growing them vertically up a trellis. Today I want to share with you a free, easy DIY way that you can support your growing melons so they don't fall off your trellis and you have lots of juicy watermelon to harvest. But before we do that, I want to show you the cantaloupe that we pollinated on last week's video. You won't believe how quickly it's growing. My cantaloupe and watermelon have been growing here in this 20-gallon smart pots for probably about 6 to 8 weeks. We're growing them vertically to save space, and my trellis is simply 2 tomato cages, one on top of the other, inverted, with the tongs at the top cut off, and then hooked together with cable ties in the middle to make a nice, strong, sturdy trellis for my growing melons. When you're growing melons in a container and when you're growing them vertically, you want to grow more compact varieties. These are all from my melon seed collection. There's a couple of varieties of watermelon in there, some full-sized, a compact sugar baby, and then the cantaloupe, which grow to about 8 to 10 pounds. So on last week's video, we hand-pollinated, pruned, tied up the plant, and would you look at this beautiful growing honey rock cantaloupe. Our hand pollination was successful. So if you missed that video, you want to go back and watch it to see how you can hand pollinate for more fruit on your melons. Now let's take a look around the front. We have a really large one that's growing like crazy. That definitely needs some support so it doesn't fall off the vine. On last week's episode, this honey rock cantaloupe was about the size of a golf ball. It has grown to the size of a softball in just about a week. And I'm having so much fun coming out here every day. You could almost literally see it grow. So if you have 2 to 3 months left of warm summer weather in your growing season, it's not too late. Get some cantaloupe and watermelon seeds planted. Make sure they're the compact variety because they go from seed to harvest in about 75 to 90-ish days, depending on your weather. And you're gonna have so much fun watching them grow. Now, to make your own DIY watermelon supports, you are gonna need 2 simple things that you might already have around your house. First off, you can grab an old t-shirt, cut off a square piece of it. It works great for watermelon supports. The second thing is, if you wear pantyhose or if your spouse wears pantyhose, you might have some of these laying around your house. Remember these? The old knee highs? Well, they make perfect watermelon supports, so don't get rid of them yet. One of the only things that Mac will eat from the garden is watermelon. So I think he's guarding these melons with his life, aren't you, Mac? Yeah, sure. Well, I'm going to tie up my honey rock watermelon with my piece of t-shirt. This one's already a little bit on the larger size, and the t-shirt works really well for that, and it's so easy to do. This is just a square piece of a t-shirt, so you can cut it to the size that you want. And the great thing about it is the fabric is stretchy, so it will accommodate the melon as it grows. So you just want to slip the t-shirt under the melon. And this also does the dual duty of protecting it from critters because they seem to know exactly when your lovely melons are ripe right before you pick them. So what you want to do is grab yourself opposite corners of the t-shirt and then simply bring it up and over your trellis here to support and make a little sling for your cantaloupe or your watermelon. Tie a knot. Make sure that it's actually cradling the melon underneath. And then bring up the opposite end and do the same. Wrap it around the trellis here. And this is really cool because, like I said, it does stretch to accommodate your growing melon. And it looks kind of cool too. I'm going to tie up my sugar baby watermelon with my pair of pantyhose. Now, I showed you guys this on last week's video. I think it was about maybe a little bit larger than a pea-sized. And I'd call it now, I think I'd call it a bouncy ball size. So I do like to tie up my melons when they're small. You could wait till it's a little bit larger, but I'm going to go ahead and do this with my pantyhose. So easy, especially when you have the knee highs. You just slip the opening over the melon. Of course, you want to be really careful not to break this tiny stem. And then you want to tie it up to the closest support. Tied into a knot here. And again, the stretchy pantyhose will accommodate the melon as it grows and protect it from critters. the birds, the rats, the varmints, whatever you have. And there you have it. You've got a handy little watermelon sling made out of pantyhose and a t-shirt, totally free of stuff you just found around your house. You can see the difference in the watermelon leaves versus the cantaloupe leaves. Now the cantaloupe are growing at a different pace because they were actually planted from transplants, started from seed indoors. They were probably already about 4 weeks old when I popped them in this container. And the watermelon, I actually just put seeds right in the container, so you can definitely plant either way. But there's tons of flowers, tons of fruit coming on, a teeny tiny sugar baby right there, but it is loaded down with cantaloupe. There's a couple more around the back, and there have been a ton of bees buzzing around because the weather, like I said, is definitely heating up. A tip for growing a lot of melons in containers is don't forget to water and fertilize. So go back and watch my video in the Container Garden series on how to water containers for all the details on that. As far as fertilizing, I fertilize my containers every 7 to 10 days, especially when they're flowering and fruiting. I fertilize with Vermistera worm tea. It's not a fertilizer that's high in nitrogen, but it does provide a slow and steady growth and gives your plants that nice boost that they need when they're flowering and fruiting to keep up with all the melons that you're going to be growing. Well, comment below, let me know if you're growing melons in containers, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss anything. And please check out my seed collections, my book, and my CaliKim Smart Pots containers over at CaliKimGardenandHome.com. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you on the next video.